Hello, I'm Shavika Nath, Senior Anchor for the National Library of Patient Rights and Advocacy. My guest today is Lisa Remey, a licensed professional counselor, supervisor, registered play therapist, supervisor, national certified counselor, certified first play practitioner, and registered stand therapist consultant trainer. She is the owner of Bluebonnet Center for Play Therapy, a private practice in New Braunfels, Texas, where she works with children, families, and caregivers from infancy through adolescence. Lisa is a recognized clinician and presenter in the field of child and adolescent mental health. She co-edited the Handbook of Cognitive Behavioral Play Therapy and previously served as president of the Texas Association for Play Therapy. She continues to serve on committees for the Association for Play Therapy, contributing to the advancement of play therapy practice. Through her clinical work, training, and writing, Lisa remains committed to supporting children and families while promoting excellence in the field of play therapy. Welcome, Lisa Remey. Could you provide for our audience a short historical overview of CBT and CBPT? How did these related approaches become part of the therapist toolbox?
Awesome. Hi, thank you for having me. Yes, I'd be happy to share about that. Um, Susan Canal is who developed cognitive behavioral play therapy in the early 90s, first published in 1993. And it really stemmed from her roots of learning about play therapy and being the approach of more child-centered and psychoanalytic and just kind of, the natural training that people develop and working with families, and she was drawn to cognitive behavior therapy, which was developed in the 60s and 70s through Albert Ellis and Dr. Aaron Beck. And together, then Beck developed cognitive behavior therapy, which is really kind of the core of what we're looking at with cognitive behavioral play therapy. And but at the same time, those approaches don't really meet the needs of children. You're not going to sit and say, "Tell me about how your thought affects your feeling," and look at this triangle. That's not really appropriate and helpful. And so Susan's heart was really wondering, like, how can I have a really good theoretical foundation and merge it with play therapy because we know play therapy meets the development needs of children. And so within that, she started trying approaches and developing her core theory of cognitive behavioral play therapy, which really just combines Beck's concept of how when he was working with adults, realizing if we're just looking at the behaviors and or psychoanalytical aspects of working with adults, we're missing, it doesn't make as much difference as it does when he started to say, "Tell me what you're thinking about that. Help me understand that more." And then he started noticing how thoughts, feelings, and actions were also correlated and noticed clients really making big change and lasting change. And within that, CBPT became really one of the highest research, developmentally empirical, theoretical foundation for adults, if that makes sense, that works for a lot of different concerns and mental health disorders. And so Susan developed cognitive behavioral play therapy, where we're integrating the natural language of children, which is play. So it doesn't mean we don't talk to children. We do talk to children. But play therapy approach really focuses on the therapeutic powers of play while considering the developmental aspects of all children. So we're looking at all developmental theories of cognitive, behavioral, emotional, developmental, are they in the pre-operational stage, what stage of development are they at, and meeting them right where they are. And then through their play and our facilitative responses, we're helping support them, especially in cognitive behavioral play. I mean, all play therapy, we're doing it through the lens of play therapy. But within cognitive behavioral play therapy, if they're playing the dollhouse and talking about mom or dad and what's happening in the little figure's world, we're more going to reflect on, oh, I wonder how they're feeling. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. Oh, I wonder what they're thinking about. I wonder if they wish that was different. So we're really bringing awareness to their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors through their play. And so it might be using the dollhouse. You can see I have a puppet theater here. I have tons and tons of puppets, do lots of gameplay, do lots of singing and moving around the room and practicing expressing our feelings. practicing with the puppets, even telling stories about what to do if they're mad at each other or they hit a friend and what are you going to do next? How are you going to handle that? And so we're really helping them work with their emotions and struggles that they're having through play. And I could go on and on. So anything else you want to know about that?
So, how did these related approaches become a part of the therapist toolbox?
Okay. Yeah. And so for me, there's obviously there's a lot of different counselors out there, right? And so my primary approach with children is through play therapy, through the lens of play therapy. So that just means that I'm naturally involved in collaborating with the client and their natural language and what they're drawn to within their play. So like a 2 or 3 year old might be more drawn to my kitchen over here and the baby dolls. And so we might be through play therapy approaching the concerns that way. Um, and so a lot of training goes into understanding the core concept of child development and understanding core concepts of play therapy and reaching children through the power of therapeutic play. The powers. That's funny. I know how to say it, but sometimes it just doesn't come out right, right? Through the therapeutic powers of play. Um, and then from there, then we're applying theory. And so the theoretical aspect is cognitive behavioral play therapy. And so within that toolbox, we go in between collaborating with the client on counselor-directed activities and structure and non-directive activities where the child is choosing to play and we're following their lead. And so the toolbox contains a whole lot of aspects of training and professional development and understanding how to work with children when they're leading in the non-directed play, such as they're choosing to play in the kitchen, and our tracking and facilitative responses are bringing awareness to their thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, even noticing if the baby might be mad, like about maybe not liking the food that the parent cooked, and maybe they're at home arguing with parents a lot. And so we might then reflect on, oh, the baby looks like they really don't want to eat that. I wonder what you're going to do. And so it kind of puts them down the role of the caretaker and kind of a different perspective on how to handle that. And they get to play it out both ways. And when doing so, we're tracking and seeing, oh, that must be really frustrating. Your baby's not eating. I see you're trying to help them be healthy, but they don't like it. And so we're normalizing those feelings and experiences and helping them move through that developmental challenge. Similar with like some of the tools and toolboxes or some interventions that we'll weave into our client sessions. Like I use, for instance, a pause button a lot. I literally have a pause button tattoo or I draw a pause button on their hand. And so that would be for like a child that is struggling with self-control and impulsivity. And so we start with fun games of like doing the pause button. We'll both have one. I let them know our pause button is just like on a remote control where we use our brain and we can pause our bodies and we can pause and think and make good choices. And so we practice within session and say, oh, let's push our pause button, pause, and we'll freeze, unpause. And then we'll do some fun activities. Then from there, we can scaffold it and bridge it to, oh, let's pause and think. What would a good choice be? And so, but we meet them developmentally with those types of interventions and concepts where they're at. We also, in our toolbox, especially cognitive behavioral play therapist, we integrate parents into the sessions, and that can look different for every family. But we have, they're a client as well. And so we have our clients' treatment goals that they're working towards, the challenges they're seeing in their child. And then we also have the child that's our client and helping with their goals. So we typically meet with parents about every 4 sessions or so to share with them about the progress we're seeing in session so they can realize we are doing more than just play. I always let parents know, oh, they might leave here and go, I can't wait to go see Miss Lisa again. We played with trucks the whole time. And they're thinking, that's a really expensive play date. And I remind them, through the therapeutic powers of play, I am working on their treatment goals. I guarantee you that. And if they're not, and we're developmental play, I'm gonna let you know that too. So in those parent sessions, we talk with parents about the progress we're seeing in counseling, sharing with them if it was a truck thing, how playing with the trucks is helpful, how we're talking about how the trucks feel about sharing the road, how frustrating it is when things don't work right, and dealing with anger, frustration, and tolerance. And so letting them bridge that together for themselves. And also in those sessions, we give parents tools and parent strategies to work on towards home to help kind of manifest those changes that they're looking for. So the pause button, for example, once the client or the child is effective using it in session and pausing and freezing and demonstrating that self-control of their bodies, then we'll bridge it to using it at home in different ways. And so one of my clients that I share about is he really liked it and he had trouble at school remembering to pause and think and keep his body still in kindergarten and not get into all this trouble. So he really chose to have the pause button temporary tattoo on his hand every morning, and it would stay a couple days because then he could physically see it. It'd be a visual example, right? Which is meeting kids developmentally where they're at. Oh yeah, I can pause and think, make a good choice. And so those physical reminders help a lot. Okay,
Thank you, Lisa Remy, for being my guest. I'm Shavika Nath, and we'll see you next time.
wonderful. Thanks. Have a great day.